We're excited to kick off New Zealand's very first barbecue series, sponsored by Culley's, Mitre 10 and Jack Daniels, and they're spearheading a home for everything barbecue. Through the series, you're going to see profiles of New Zealand chefs and pit masters, and they're going to be giving you the recipes and tricks you need to be able to do this at home. So sign up for recipes, new episodes, and all those tricks from New Zealand chefs, barbecue masters, and even there's prizes to be won for your favourite barbecue products. This week we're joined by Stacey Harte, and he describes himself as a self-proclaimed barbecue fanatic. He's a firefighter during the day and a builder, and then on the weekends he's in there doing lots and lots of barbecue. He's got some great experience from around the world, working with some barbecue masters in Japan with the yakitori, Argentina, America, so we're in for a treat today. Today he's going to be showing us the ropes on the MasterBuilt Gravity 560. I can't wait to see what he's cooking.
Hi, I'm Stacey, and today we're going to cook pork ribs, pork belly bowels and whole snapper on the MasterBuilt 560. Stay tuned as to see how. Here we have the MasterBuilt 560. We can go through the process of loading up and setting up the charcoal. We'll open up the top hopper, load in our charcoal. We're going to go a layer of charcoal. We're going to use the Urban Lumberjack cherry wood, another layer of charcoal, cherry wood, and then fill up the hopper. Charcoal hopper's loaded. To start the MasterBuilt 560, open up the bottom door, slide in a fire lighter into the sleeve, get her going. Don't forget to open up your side sleeves. There we go. Turn on the MasterBuilt 560. Come on. Set your temperature. Today we're going to go for 300 Fahrenheit. Use the dial to adjust the temperature. 300 Fahrenheit set. You can also use the MasterBuilt app to set your temperatures. Make sure you pull out the side sleeves. I usually leave them in, but if you want to, you can hang them on the end on the bench. Good to go. I'm going to take you through the steps for preparing pork belly. Piece of pork belly, we're going to use this device here called a jig-head. A jig-head is 64 knife blades, and these individual knife blades are going to give you good pork belly results. Want to stab the pork belly all over. And what that has done, it has created all these individual holes, which is going to help with giving you nice crackling. Next, we're going to spray it with white vinegar. Use a craft knife to score the skin. You want to cut through the skin, not into the fat, not into the meat, into the You want to cut through the skin, cutting through into the fat, not the meat. Now we'll apply flaky sea salt. We're doing this a bit differently today. We're going to cook using the MasterBuilt rotisserie, which is an accessory. Thread the pork belly onto the rod. Let's go that way. Get the rod through first so it's central down the pork belly. Pull the pork belly onto the skewer. Tighten up the nut. Spin it around. And then we have it, pork belly ready to go onto the rotisserie. Should rotate. Let's put it on. Now we're going to add the pork belly to the 560 rotisserie. Open up the lid, slide the rotisserie skewer into the MasterBuilt. Like so. Turn on the rotisserie. I'm going to up it. Close the lid and start cooking the pork belly. I'm going to up the temperature to 400 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, then I'll drop it back down to 350. Pork belly's on. 15 minutes in, we'll check how the pork belly's going. Starting to get some nice colour on the bottom. Starting to get some good crackling around the edges. We'll leave that going, and while it's going, we will prep the pork belly bao bun ingredients. So we're going to make pork belly bao buns. Got capsicum, cucumber, carrot, spring onions, and coriander. Going to cut some cucumbers into sticks. These will be to garnish the pork belly bowels. Same with the carrots. Cut the bottom off, make it nice and flat. Grab two at a time. Put them into our little pots. Carrots are done. Just going to pull the leaves off the coriander. That should be enough. Cut some spring onions. Like to fold the spring onion in half and go on the diagonal. Nice long strands. And then the cucumber, just nice thin slithers. We have store-bought bell buns, and we're going to steam those for 3 to 4 minutes in a steamer using a little butane burner. There we have it. The garnishes are ready. Now we're going to wait for the pork belly. Going to check in on the pork belly skin and the crackling. A little trick to help set that crackling is when the pork belly skin is sitting flat or facing the bottom, to turn the rotisserie off for 5 to 10 minutes to allow the heat to hit the skin and set the crackling. So we'll wait for that to come around and turn it off for 5 minutes and check back in. Just starting to get some crackling forming on the edges, just needs a bit more time and direct heat in the center. Coming around now. Rotisserie off, lid back down, check it in 5 minutes. Pork belly crackling is 90% set. Got some good crackling in the center. So while that finishes off, we'll get the bell buns ready. Got our little smoker sitting on the little portable stove. Chucking a few bells. Give those 2 to 5 minutes. Pull off our pork belly, and then we'll make our bells. Our pork belly is done. So, going to go for an internal temperature of a minimum of 145. We're sitting up around 197, so it's going to be nice, fall apart, tender pork belly for your bells. Come around. Remove the skewers carefully because they're hot. Nice crispy crackling. crunch. Cut some nice pieces to go in our bowls. Put it all together. Open up your bell buns. Grab all your nice fresh cut ingredients. But first, a dab of barbecue sauce. Nice big chunk of pork belly, or two. I always go one. Nice fresh cucumber. Carrots. Spring onions, whoops, and coriander, nice fresh flavors. Pork belly bao buns. Now we're going to go through how I prep pork ribs. These are St. Louis cut ribs. They're nice thick and meaty ribs. We'll start on the back and we'll take off the membrane. Use a spatula or the back of a spoon to lift the membrane. There we go, got a little bit we can grab. Grab a paper towel, grab onto the corner of the membrane, keep it at a 90-degree angle, and pull back across the rib. And it should come off in one go. There we go. I'm just going to do a simple trim on these ribs, because you don't want to be throwing all your meat away in the bin. But take off any edges which are going to burn or get crusty in the barbecue. Want to take off any excess fat on the back. Because that will all burn. And there we have it, a simple trim for home ribs. Now we'll use a binder. Today we're using a little bit of oil before applying the rub so that the rub will stick. Today we're using Culley's Kingpin exotic pork rub. We're going to do a double layer of rub today. The other rub we are using is the rock and rib rub. From a nice high height, drop on your dry rub, giving it a good even coating. That looks pretty good. And then the second rub, same process, nice high height to give it a good even coating. The second rub's got a nice paprika red colouring to it. Give you nice looking ribs. The backside's done. Flip your ribs over and repeat the process. Nice high height. Keeping my hand on the edge to try and bounce the rub back onto the ribs. Then also using your hand to deflect the rub onto the side of the ribs. You can see the two different rubs give a good colour and layering effect, which will be good for flavour later. There you have it, the ribs. The ribs are rubbed and ready for the barbecue. I'll let these sit for half an hour just to let that the meat sweat, let the rub set, and then we'll add them onto the barbecue. Alright, we're going to put the ribs onto the MasterBuilt 560. I've got the temperature set at 300 Fahrenheit. I like to cook at 300 Fahrenheit. There's many variations on how you can cook. I go 300 Fahrenheit for an hour and a half to set the bark, get the colour onto the ribs, and I'll spritz every half an hour. Pick up your ribs, lay them on the middle shelf, like so. Boom. The ribs are going to be on the MasterBuilt for an hour and a half. The next stage we'll spritz every half an hour. The next stage we'll be wrapping with a little bit of pineapple juice, brown sugar, honey and butter, and they'll be in the wrap phase for an hour. Then we will glaze them and get them ready for serving in the last 10 minutes. We're now an hour into the cook. We're going to give it a spritz. Today I'm using water. You can use whatever you like. I prefer to use water. It's readily available, easy to use. Give it a nice drenching. Close the barbecue back up. Pork ribs have been on for an hour and a half. We're now going to go through the process of wrapping. I'm going to lay down 2 layers of foil. This is ultimate tin foil. It's nice and thick and good for wrapping ribs. 1. 2. Want to get a small piece of foil for the bones, so we don't poke the bones through the bottom of the wrap, like so. That should do. Want to make that into a little fold, and you'll see shortly that that's all protecting the edge of our bones. Before we wrap our ribs, want to lay down a sprinkling of brown sugar couple of sticks of butter. Some honey. And a little bit of pineapple juice. Stay there. Grab the ribs off the barbecue. Lay them face down onto the foil. Get that small piece of foil that we cut and folded. Put them over the bones so you don't poke the bones through when you wrap. Repeat the process on the top. Sugar. Well, sorry, the bottom. Butter. Honey. And pineapple juice. Fold the ribs and make a little parcel. Find it easiest to grab them by the side, roll it down from the top, nice and tight. And do the same with the second layer. Later on we'll use the foil to make a boat when we glaze. Back onto the 560 for another hour. One thing I should add is when you're wrapping, you want to make sure you have no holes in your tin foil and the tin foil's nice and tight. Our pork ribs have been wrapped for an hour, so now we are going to glaze them. But first, I can't use my normal gloves to get the pork ribs off because they're going to be hot. So another trick is to get some Simple Garden cotton gloves. Put those on first and then get your gloves and put them over top. Not going to stop your hands from getting burnt, but it's going to allow you to touch the hot ribs. Going to make a glaze. Got the nice little cast iron pan. Going to plonk that on there. Got the Culley's Kingpin rib and chicken glaze. Going to pour some of that into a little cast iron pan. Should be enough. Chuck in a few dollops of butter. And then just a splash of honey. We'll let that heat up for 5-10 minutes. And unwrap our ribs. We folded the foil around the ribs. Now we're going to unfold it carefully and use that foil again to make a tray so we can glaze our ribs. Let's have a look, see what they look like. Got a nice bend in them. Looking pretty good on the top too. Just going to fold the foil to make a little tray. Then we'll put it back on the barbecue for a few minutes just to let that top reset. And then we will glaze them. Like so. The butter and the honey is starting to melt. Our glaze should be nice and warm. We can apply it to the ribs in 5 minutes. Good way to check your ribs are done also. See if they're probing like butter. Go in between the bone and the meat, like so, without piercing the foil. It's a good indication that your ribs are done, as well as the temperature of 205. We'll give these a glaze now. Apply the glaze, just nice light brush strokes. Keep it nice and even. Glaze is done. Give that 5 to 10 minutes to set, then we'll cut the ribs up. It's been 10 minutes and our glaze is set. Take them over to the board and cut them up. Get a nice bend to them. Get a nice big knife. Cut between the bones. Oh, just don't miss the bone. Where are we? Should have really rolled them over. There we go. There we have it. Some pork ribs. Now we're going to be cooking snapper on the MasterBuilt. First we're going to score the fish, then we're going to make a stuffing mix for the gut cavity, and then we're going to season it with the championship rub. Just get a nice big knife, give it some nice big scores up the side. Set that to the side, make our stuffing mix. Roughly chop our parsley. Into the jar. Red onion. Into our jar. Bit of red capsicum. Into the jar. And some more coriander. Just roughly chopped and in the jar, so that when you tip up the fish into the gut cavity, you can pour it all in. Grab our rub, season the fish, give it a rub to get it into the slits. Turn it over, repeat the process. Nice coating to get the flavors into the fish. Then on to the MasterBuilt. We've got the barbecue set. We want to go 300 Fahrenheit. That'll come down in temperature. We'll get the snapper on. This should take approximately 30 to 40 minutes to cook. So it's been 40 minutes, we'll check how our snapper's doing. It's looking pretty good. We'll give it a probe. We're on an internal temperature of 137 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're above that, so she's ready and good to come off. Just gonna get some lettuce and lay it down on our board. Nice bed for the fish to sit on. Then to plate it up, we've got some fine tomatoes, of course lemon, some king sweetie, capsicums, a light sprinkling of parsley. There we go. Barbecue cooked snapper. This is what we've cooked on the MasterBuilt 560. Pork St. Louis cut ribs, pork belly bow buns, and whole baked snapper. You can find me on Instagram at MJ Smoking Barbecue.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of Culley's Barbecue Series. Thanks again to all our awesome sponsors, Mitre and Jack Daniels, for helping make this happen. Don't forget to subscribe so you can win prizes, including some of the best cooking tools, gadgets, barbecues, accessories, meat and sauce packs, and loads more stuff. Visit culleys.co.nz/barbecue series for more details, and I'll catch you next week.